Capital budgeting had some techniques and method to use, and a while ago we have saw or seen the first method, which is the discounted cash flow. And now I'm going to report the non-discounted cash flow. Under non-discounted cash flow, so there is three method or techniques. The first one is payback period, discounted payback period, and lastly, accounting rate of return. So, under non-discounted cash flow, there is a payback period. So, what is a payback period? So, from it words itself, payback period. So, we're talking about to the return or payback of the cash investment we made. So, for you to understand more, I will give an example. So, here is the example of payback period. For each example, there is a initial investment costing for 250 with a cash flow for year 1 100, year 2 100, year 3 100, year 4 100. The question in this payback period, in what period or time we can recover or buy back this amount of 250? So for this problem, in year 1 we have 100 equals 100, year 2 100, add therefore 200, year 3 100, add therefore 300, year 4 100, add therefore 400. So we can see that this cost 250 is between year 2 and year 3. So we can see that in year 2 there is a cash flow of 200. So we can see there is a remaining 50 to fulfill this amount of investment, 250. So we're going to derive our formula, which is this one. Payback period is equals to cash outlay investment, which is the 50, and the over annual cash inflow, which is the 100. So we can see it is in between to 2 and 3 years. So we will write 2.50 over 100 is 0.5. So the payback period to recover this 250 investment is 2.5 years. I hope it is a good example. Under non-discounted cash flow, we had discounted payback period. So it's just like the same with the payback period earlier. The difference is there is an discount rate that we're going to use. So for you to understand and for you to compare the difference from payback period and discounted payback period, I will give an example. So here is the example of discounted payback period. So for you to easy to understand, the example in payback period and discounted payback period are same. So and then we can differentiate its difference from payback and discounted payback period. And the first difference is in discounted payback period, there is an discount rate of 10%, same initial cost of investment 250. In year 1 there's a 100 cash flow, year 2 100, year 3 100, year 4 100. And the difference is we need to discount this cash flow with this discount rate 10%. So in year 1 there's a 100 over 10% raised to 1 because it's 1 year is equals to 91. In year 2 100 over 10% raised to 2 because it's 2 years equals to 83, then so on and so forth. So now there's a list for discounted cash flow: 91, 83, 75, 68. So 91 equals to 91. Year 2, there's an 83. Add. Therefore, 174. Year 3, there's an 75. Add. Therefore, 249. Year 4, 68. Then add. Therefore, there are 317. So we can see that we can recover or pay back this initial investment 250 between year 3 249 and year 4 317. And we can see there's a 1 peso to fulfill this 250. So that is the from the formula cash outlay investment. So that's the one. And the annual cash inflow, which is in year 4 68. So we can see it's between year 3 and year 4, so we can easily write the 3. So for this one, 1 over 68, the answer is 0.15. So we can the discounted payback period is 3.015 years. So lastly, under non-discounted cash flow, there's a technique that accounting rate of return or ARR. So accounting rate of return calculates the return generated from net income of the proposed capital investment. So for you to understand more, I will give an example. So here is the formula of ARR or accounting rate of return. So ARR is equals to average annual operating income from asset over initial investment, or ARR is equals to average annual net cash flow minus annual depreciation expense over initial investment. So for each example, there's an equipment costing for 240,000, then a residual value for 30,000, because equipment can be depreciated, so there is an residual value. For annual cash flow, there is for year 1 100, year 2 80,000, year 3 50,000, year 4 50,000, year 5 50,000, year 6 30,000, with a total of 360 annual cash flow. So to get the average annual cash flow, so this total annual cash flow 360 over 6, because it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 here, is equals to 60,000. Therefore average annual cash flows is 60,000. And then we're going to find the annual depreciation expense. So to find it, this equipment 240,000 minus the residual value of 30,000 over 6. So the annual depreciation expense is 35,000. So to get the ARR, so we're going to back to the formula. ARR is equals to average annual net cash flow, which is the 60,000 minus annual depreciation expense, which is 35,000 over the initial investment 240,000, which is the equipment. So 60 minus 35,000 over 240,000 is equals to 10.42%. So the accounting rate of return is 10.42%. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned